Okay.
Live? Great. All right. Well, welcome everybody to the meeting of the Grand Marais Board of Trustees for the library. And we'll do a roll call here. It looks like everybody is here except for Anno and Dave. So we have our quorum, so we are ready to roll. And we don't have any visitors here today. So we'll go on to the consent agenda. Did anybody have anything that they need to add, change, edit?
Does the library director's report count? You want it, it's mistitled. It says May 2024, but it's clearly the report for June. Or is that how you gonna?
No, we can correct that.
Okay. I must have just breezed past it with.
Who looks at headings?
Okay.
That's the only observation.
Yeah, Kevin.
All right, very good. We'll make that edit, okay. And with that, do we have a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Second.
Who's
Doubly
the
second?
Okay.
Yeah. All right, very good. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to our director's report.
Perfect. So our lighting project is complete with the exception of one ballast in one of the globes over here, but everything else is completed and we did receive our invoice, which came in at exactly the quoted price.
Perfect.
I'm very, very happy with the work that Hun Electric did for us and would recommend them and just enjoyed working with the technicians. So this is a great project for us to complete.
Great, and I hate to focus in, but
Yeah.
what about that ballast? Like, this is going to be
It
changed?
just needed an extra part, and so the next time they come up for
Okay.
Grand Portage, they'll put the part in.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Spigot, which has been like a year and a half or something. The spigot, we all decided at the last meeting we were going to do a local repair. The repair has been made. As far as we know, everything's working great. So we're going to hope that holds and just see what happens. Now that that has been repaired, I was able to work with Superior Cleaning to get a quote for cleaning our upholstery, which hasn't been done the entire time I've been here. Also, P.S., the furniture survived the flood. So I feel very strongly about getting that cleaned. And the quote came in at $1,600. The work will be split between like 2 Saturdays in the afternoon or something. And I'm going to go ahead and get that scheduled up.
Great. Thank
And
you.
they're very good. They just clean rugs in the condo.
Mark is
Oh.
fantastic.
Please,
Yeah, I love
thank you.
working with him too. So check on all of those building related projects that are happening. Hiring process, we successfully hired a clerk to work here with us. That person reconsidered and withdrew their interest. The position is still posted or will be posted again. It will show up in the newspaper again.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, our custodian, his availability has shifted, and so we are also starting to look for a new custodian.
Okay.
Our current helper is going to stay on and do the work that he can while I'm looking for another person. So that is very generous.
I should talk to, the Y has always had a little bit of a struggle there too. And maybe if we bring these two resources together, we could maybe get somebody who's got enough hours. that they'll
Fantastic.
do it
Cool idea.
consistently.
Please.
But I'll reach out to them,
Thank you.
because it's just come up recently, so I'll ask.
Yeah. So to put that in context of like, how does this impact our work? Erica, Ryan, and I are all working shifts at the desk. And we are also in the peak of our programming season with Erica running and managing 3-4 weekly programs. That's 2 craft afternoons of story time for the littles, as well as a new component of the reading program. I'm looking over here at this table, role-playing games for ages 10 plus.
Nice.
And then in addition to that, we also have the special events that are going on. Like we just had the juggler out here on the lawn that held just under 100 people. And we have an aquatic invasive species program coming up. We have some haiku. And then we're going to have the peregrine falcon program come through. So there's all of that going on, in addition to getting books out the door. And that brings us to, I don't know, I'm calling this incident response. There's only so much I can say about kind of some of what's going on in the library, but just to recap, in May at the last board meeting, I had explained that someone in our community had made threats against staff lives. Our response was thorough, and just to follow up, that individual was banned from the library and trespassed from the property and has stayed off library grounds, at least in terms of what I'm aware of. But there were other interactions between us, for example, in the form of continued social media posts that are calling out staff people. So we have all continued to follow up with law enforcement and community partners, but I was also very concerned about staff wellness. And for that reason, I closed the library from Wednesday, June 11 through Saturday, June 15th. This gave staff some time to process what we are experiencing, as well as gave me some time to add a safety protocol. Then Gay Pride occurred on Saturday, June 15th. And as you have probably read in the paper, related to that event, which we support in various ways, there was a community bomb threat. So I did support law enforcement response to that. And Erica was at the drag queen story time, I believe. And so that did affect us as well. Long story short.
It's a lot.
It is a lot going on.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I just want to say that at the level of response that I am doing, at the level of support that I feel the city council and trustees are trying to deliver to the library is, in my view, excellent and very helpful. Community and trustees and city council especially are all continuing to reach out and ask how we're doing. It's a very hard question to answer, however. And I just want to say something to the effect that the library rejects fear as a vision for how we should program this library and operate it. And I'm very grateful and proud of my staff who continue to come in and circulate books and give their heart and compassion to the community with all of their stories that are still going on as well. Like every life has a story, and we're continuing to show up for all of them. So again, there's only so much I can say about some of the incidents. But do you have any questions for me that I might be able to try to answer?
I came in last week. I reached out to Amanda and said that I'm part of the chaplains group and came in. Fortunately, we weren't able to do too much because everybody's getting ready for everything. But along that, I talked with Amanda, and they're through their medical insurance,
Right.
There is health insurance. And I did follow up to research it, but if there is a copay that any of the staff has to do for that medical, I think that we should cover it. And I'm not making a formal motion yet, but I think it should be discussed. And I'm sorry I didn't get here soon enough to put it onto new business, but I think that's one thing that we could do is if they need to reach out to a counselor, because I was talking to them, we had COVID, we had the flood. This has not been, I hope this has not been the normal 4 years for this. And so so yeah, to make sure that the staff has all the staff has no issues in accessing one-on-one counseling as they need.
Yeah.
First of all, and maybe using some of our reserve funds to bring in a facilitator and maybe even close down the library again for a day or two so they don't have to, okay, I'm here, but I gotta check someone out, but close down is sometime August, September, or sometime and do some bring in a facilitator to help the staff decompress and get centered and I think they've been running on adrenaline now for a couple years now. They need to have that time. We need to help support them to have that, to find ways to get down from that.
Yeah, I think, of course, we'll just wait and hear what is wanted and needed, and we'll go from that. And certainly, the EAP program, that's what it is, right, that you guys
Yes,
can access.
the city provides all staff an emergency, so many acronyms. An employee
Yeah.
assistance program, thank you, not an employee, an emergency action plan.
So,
That benefit is available to all employees. That benefit provides that we can, if we want to just call and talk to someone right now, they will connect us with a counselor. And also it provides up to 6 sessions on a given topic. So that is available. I believe it's full-time staff who have access to HSA and HRA benefits, which can be used to supplement beyond the 6 sessions.
But anybody can take.
Everyone
6
has
sessions?
access to
Just
up
6
to 6
sessions?
sessions.
So
and in terms of like extending that, which can be done, that's pretty simple too.
One,
Yeah.
one thing that I would suggest to Amanda, and sort of is a broader outlook, I guess you could say. When these things happen, you think, oh, here I am in Grand Marais and our library. But in fact, libraries all over are facing these sorts of things.
schools and libraries.
We are,
Schools too, yeah.
well, especially libraries, because they're one of the last public spaces. I don't know, I sent to Amanda, which I think she shared, an article from, was it the New Yorker, but about the Minneapolis Public Library. Obviously, we're not going to, that's not exactly a model for us, but still.
Yeah.
But we are part of the Arrowhead, I guess it's not a system, it's a federation, but there are, I know that St. Paul Public Library does consulting throughout the country in general. Now, whether they consult on these kinds of matters, I don't know. But I think it's really important to reach out to and find out what are other libraries doing. Because if this is happening in Grand Marais, what are they doing in Duluth? Duluth is part of the Arrowhead. That's a bigger city. I'm sure that there are disturbed people in Duluth who do things. And I think it's always good to ask other people.
Yes.
You know, I always say
Somebody's
it's-
already run this road.
I,
so let's
yeah,
find out
I'm
how they did
sure.
it.
I always say it's because
Yeah.
one, I'm not always that creative, and I'm not always that assiduous. Tend to be a little lazy. So if somebody else has a good idea, I'm really happy if they'll share it with me.
Exactly.
And then another thing I think, now this is going to sound kind of piddly, I guess, considering, but I do think we should have code of conduct posted someplace in the library for people to see. And I think it should be available on the website, maybe not right the first thing you see, but a link to it. And Amanda and I did review the code of conduct from, I think, both Minneapolis and St. Paul Public Libraries. I bring them up. I'm very familiar with St. Paul Public Library because I spent many years sitting in the library and doing things there. But And we might not want to obviously copy the whole thing. We might want to keep it short and sweet, but I think we should have something.
Okay.
Is that going to solve the problem? Not necessarily, but it's up there, it's public. And we can always say so-and-so didn't do whatever, or he used bad language. You see, that's number 2 on the chart there, so.
No, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. It would be good to see how do other places do that. So, and just so I know, because I don't recall, in Minneapolis, St. Paul, do they have that posted there? Is
They
that,
do,
yeah,
I
okay.
believe, yeah.
Actually,
And, the other thing is those large systems, the branch libraries are very much like shall we say, the Grand Marais Public Library, because they're like little, they're neighborhood libraries, so they're almost they're little like this. And sometimes I had a friend in St. Paul who worked on the west side of St. Paul. She would have been Amanda in that library.
Mhm.
And it was a hard job.
Okay.
So other people have these problems, and I think it's just good to recognize that and then find out from other people what they do.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not all on you or any of us to figure it all out.
Right. And it isn't just this library, it isn't just Grand Marais.
No, sure not. And that just reminds me, I really appreciated your statement before about fear. I just want to say that,
Mm-hmm.
put that on the record. That's exactly right.
So what I'm hearing from trustees is you'd like us to consider posting our code of conduct, which by the way is the, based on our behavior policy, which
Right.
I was reviewing for language on carrying weapons. And we are encouraged to get a sense of the national response and to understand that we're not alone. We are experiencing this and it feels very isolating, but we're not alone. And also, now I'm just adding my own content to this. I don't think we've dealt with anything on this level since pre-pandemic.
Mhm.
We don't have a history of trespassing people. We don't have a history of protests against our programming to the level that we are seeing right now, I think. So definitely connecting with that broader picture is important. And also that once we determine where financial support could be best allocated, the board is in favor of hearing and supporting ideas that would help staff mentally and emotionally process everything back through the pandemic.
Good summary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to add anything?
Yes. Anyone?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we are at the end of the agenda. Does anybody have anything more they would like to discuss before we come to a close? Well, then we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Okay, that was fast.
We got a new leadership. It's